1.5 degrees Celsius. It doesn't sound like much, but this unassuming number is like a threshold to an impending global crisis. Reducing global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius is the only way to mitigate the devastating changes that our planet is already facing. But it will be difficult to change the course we're on, and it will take all of us, as in the collective everyone on this planet type of we, to turn the ship around. Enter Bill Nordhaus and Paul Romer, two economists thinking about how to change capitalism and technology to reduce and reverse climate change. They're also the 2018 laureates of the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences. Nordhaus has been advocating for a major climate tax, which would force governments to implement more energy-efficient policies. For Romer, the economy is about growth. It's a huge innovation discovery machine. Nordhaus and Romer join a growing list of Nobel laureates looking into ways to mitigate climate change.
Economics has done more for human happiness and preservation of life than any other science or discipline I can think of.
That's Professor Chris Pissarides, one of 4 Nobel laureates, speaking about the choices we face in the future at a recent UBS Nobel Perspectives discussion held in London.
There are hardships on the way. Young people have to make arguably the most difficult transition.
So, what's realistic when it comes to saving our planet? We spoke to 4 climate change experts about why these economic ideas are so difficult to implement.
The global urban population is expanding by 1.2 million people a week.
That's Andy Goulson.
I'm a professor of environmental policy at the University of Leeds. Analysis shows that cities are responsible for up to 3/4 of the carbon emissions that can be attributed to energy use. Unless we deal with cities and unless we engage with cities and help them to tackle climate change, then we're probably not going to win the global fight against climate change.
When it comes to emerging urban projects and expansions, Andy thinks a sustainability-first mentality is key.
That investment can either happen in a kind of low-carbon, climate-resilient way, or it can happen in a kind of business-as-usual way.
Today, investors allocate an average of 39% of their portfolios to sustainable ventures.
The last few years, for the first time ever, the world as a whole is investing more in renewable energy, mostly wind, solar, geothermal, than it is in fossil fuel energy generation. That's coal, oil, and gas. That's quite extraordinary. That is a revolution.
That's Dimitris Angelis. He's a big fan of Romer's work.
What Romer said was, well, actually, hang on a minute. The future isn't God-given. It doesn't just sort of drop like manna from heaven. Actually, the kind of future that we live in is very much a response to the decisions we make today.
That's what Romer calls conditional optimism.
You don't sit back and watch it happen, you make it happen.
Technology plays a key role not only in mitigating climate change, but also in reducing the greenhouse gases that are already in our atmosphere.
If we were to continue emitting at this rate, then that gives us about 15 years left at current emissions until we hit that ceiling of carbon dioxide emissions. And beyond that, we would then need to deploy carbon dioxide removal technologies. They are simply going to be developed and deployed with the sole purpose of reversing the damage that we've caused by emitting so much carbon dioxide to this point in time.
But should we really rely on technology to suck out carbon from the air?
You want my honest answer?
Yeah. That's Jenny Nelson. She's a physicist who's looking into solar energy conversion.
I think there's a real danger that if we believe that we carry on doing what we're doing now, and then in the future we deploy carbon removal technologies and then sort of undo the damage that's been done to date and we'll all be fine. I think that's an extremely dangerous train of thought. There are things that we know we can do with technologies that are already here, they're already cheap, they're already proven, they already work, and we're not doing them.
Right.
Why not? Generating technology is not the bottleneck.
So where then is the bottleneck?
Political will.
We need the political will to make the change happen, but I would say the technology is largely there. It can be better, and with support, the transition could happen faster.
In addition to sweeping changes at the policy level, it will also take collective effort on the ground level. You know, that collective type of we that I mentioned at the start. Essentially, it comes down to one thing: choice. And knowing we all have a role to play in designing a more sustainable future.